Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. This update we are going to check out Avalanche's price chart, and in here I am seeing currently some very much optimistic signs indicating maybe this move is going to continue a little bit. So first things first, if you remember the last time that we talked about Avalanche, we were right in here and the idea was that we want to see a consolidation pattern, a very slow and choppy move down followed by yet another move on the upside in order for me to be able to be bullish and call this point right in here possibly the low of our correction, about let's say $20.50. And what happened, we did pretty much get what we talked about in the previous video. However, let's just zoom in more. Okay, pay attention. I think we can all sort of kind of safely say this is actually overlapping of the waves between this move down and also this one. And why is this so important? That actually comes down to Elliott waves. You see, if you want to argue that we are having our final low around here, maybe this is like a very important support, then okay, off of the lowest low, you need to be able to find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. This specific example is called an impulsive structure. Rules for it are we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave. Wave 3 is not allowed to be the smallest wave. Now, sometimes instead of having an impulsive movement, we can have other kinds of 5 waves. For example, we can have something called a leading diagonal in form of a wedge, which looks like this. This is our initial move up into 1, and it has to be the biggest wave in this whole structure. Correction for wave 2, another move into wave 5 must be smaller than 1. Correction for 4, it has to be smaller than wave 2, and unlike this impulsive structure, in here we must have overlapping of the waves this time, and this is our final move up into wave 5, which has to be the smallest wave. On the other hand, we can have also something called an expanding leading diagonal, which is, I'm going to say, basically the opposite of a wedge. Why? Because this is a wave 1, and unlike this thing, it has to be the smallest wave. Correction for wave 2, a strong move up into wave 3, it must be bigger than 1. Correction for 4, sure, we are going to have overlapping of the waves, but in here, unlike a wedge, our wave 4 must be bigger than wave 2, and this is our final move up into wave 5, which has to be the biggest wave, unlike this thing, which was our smallest wave. Now, why are these structures so important? Because if I just go on the live chart, okay, earlier we said we do have actually overlapping of the waves between this move and this one, so I think we shouldn't really be saying that this is going to be like an impulsive structure. No, instead, this narrows our option to either having an expanding leading diagonal or maybe a leading diagonal in form of a wedge. And if I just do this, okay, if you want to say this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave, then okay, let's measure our supposedly wave 3 and compare it to the other waves. Is it bigger than our supposedly wave 1? Absolutely. So this essentially narrows your option to only and only having an expanding leading diagonal, which in it, wave 5 must be the biggest wave. However, as you can see in here, wave 5 is smaller than our supposedly wave 3. So essentially, this is neither here nor there. And what is going on in that case? Okay, I'm going to argue maybe in Avalanche, we are having a correction, not starting from this point, but actually from this high right in here, and it can be in form of, an ABC running flat, which looks like this. This is our initial move down into a correction for wave B, which in it we're going to take this high and then another move down into our C leg, and in it we are not going to take the low of our A leg. And for our sub waves, ABC down into A, ABC into B, and like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down into our waves. Now let's go on the live chart and count some waves. Maybe it's best to go on like 15-minute time frame. Okay, in my view, this is absolutely like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave to about this point. Also, sure, this does look a lot like an impulsive structure, but you also do have quite a decent argument for having in here an A, B, C zigzag, and well, this can be also another ABC structure down. So essentially, on a higher degree, maybe this whole move is a running flat structure into, this is the key, pay attention, maybe a larger degree wave 4. And I'm going to argue we still need to see yet another move up in Avalanche into our wave 5 in order for us to be very much optimistic. This was in terms of Elliott waves, And by the way, I forgot to tell you, let's summon more. Okay, what do we have in this initial phase up off of the lowest low? This is actually a great sign because you are absolutely able to find a 1 2 3 4 5 in here, followed by, I don't know, maybe this is going to be some sort of a correction down. And on a higher degree, I am really hoping that in Avalanche this is going to be 1 2, and then what's next? Big move up into wave 3 4 5 in order to complete the sub waves for, excuse me, let's change the colors, this yellow wave 5 right in here. So in terms of Helios waves, let's hope for this count to play out. Now, in terms of classic patterns, I'm not really sure if you like them, but if you do, I do think this might be a bit of a bullish triangle structure. And for example, this can be our lower line, there we go, and this can be the upper line. Okay, now you might say, well, okay, this pattern is confirmed now, but I don't really think so. You see, if you want to say this pattern is going to be in play, you need to see an initial move above this line. So we do have it, great, but followed by that, you need to see a pullback and then a continuation of the move up in order to take this important high. So I think we can say we are absolutely on the right track to confirm this pattern, but we may not be necessarily completely there yet. Now, what is going to happen if we actually confirm this pattern? At that point, you need to measure the targets, and by that I mean you need to measure the height of your triangle from this point to about, let's say, here, and then put this thing at your supposedly breaking point. By the way, at first you have to, I'm going to say this in every single video, you have to put your chart on regular scale. There is simply no measuring waves on logarithmic, okay? That is simply not a thing, and this is giving you about like a $29 avalanche, meaning from the current point you can essentially expect like a 15 to 20% move on the upside, which is definitely not that bad given the fact that in AVAX overall seems like relative to a whole lot of other altcoins, we are performing much better. So I don't really see any reason for AVAX to stop right in here, if especially we manage to confirm this beautiful triangular structure. Now, this was in terms of classic patterns. In terms of Helios waves, we're not really that lucky in most cases, and I'm going to argue maybe we are going to have, let's say, like an A, B, C on the upside, and then we're gonna have a move on the downside, something like this, in order to even take the lows in here. So this may actually end up invalidating the triangle structure, but from here, since a lot of traders are going to get their stop loss hit, you are going to see most likely another very strong move up in order to once more destroy the people who took short positions above here. This is usually how the market works. It has a habit of destroying a whole lot of trader and then do what they exactly expect. So in Avalanche, overall, I'm going to argue we are looking good. I do still believe we can say this is 1 2 3 running flat for 4, another move up into wave 5, and in order to confirm this possibility, I need to see the current move being a 1 2 big move up into wave 3, correction for another move up into wave 5. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in AVAX. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.